What's going on, New York Giants fans? Welcome back to another video. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops a video drops. 53-man roster projection should be out by Friday or Saturday. Another podcast episode being the preview for the Giants-Patriots game should be out, I believe, on Friday. Still coordinating some stuff in the schedule. But this is another roster bubble video, and this one is going to be on an interesting candidate. This one is on Trent Harris, the linebacker, 2008 undrafted free agent out of Miami. And I'll basically give the stats and a background before we go into competition and stuff like that. Coming into the 2021 offseason and stuff like that, even training camp, mini camp, stuff like that, the Giants needed in some way to bolster their outside linebacking core and their pass rush. And obviously they did that. They selected Ellerson Smith in the 4th round, but he's not practiced yet. Azeez Ojulari they selected in the 2nd round, and they signed Ifeadi Odenigbo to a 1-year contract to try to bolster that pass rush a little bit. Ifeadi Odenigbo was effectively the replacement for linebacker Kyler Fackrell. Now, obviously coming into camp, we knew as Giants fans and content creators that this linebacker room on the outside for the pass rush was going to be locked and loaded with a bunch of guys, and all of us pretty much, never gave Trent Harris a chance. We never gave Nico Lalos a chance and some of these other guys. We said, okay, it's going to be Ifeadi, it's going to be Carter, it's going to be Ojulari, it's going to be Smith, it's going to be Coughlin. And some things we've gotten right so far, some things we have not gotten right. And I think that one of the most impressive things to come out during training camp in this preseason is the emergence of Trent Harris. Now, on the stat sheet, it's pretty bland. Maybe one quarterback hit. I don't know how many pressures he's put up. But if you're watching the last 2 games, especially the one against the Cleveland Browns, you're definitely noticing that Trent Harris has something to do and, is definitely playing a role on this defense, whether it be facing a first-team defense, facing a second-team defense. The Giants, let's be honest, Shane Zimenez, he did very well in the passing game trying to get to the quarterback, had 3 quarterback hits, which was the most on the team, but he could not set the edge in the run game. And as Giants fans, we all knew that Dalvin Tomlinson heading out to Minnesota was going to be an issue for the Giants, meaning that they would have to replicate his production on the inside with Danny Shelton, Austin Johnson, all these other guys, potentially David Moa. But otherwise, we needed somebody, not just as a pass rusher. We just need somebody, and what I'm trying to say here is we need somebody to set the edge. You look at some of the guys on the roster, Shane Zimenez, he's not an every down player. As I just mentioned, he could not set the edge. Azeez Ojulari, he needs to work on some of his pass rush moves and needs to get better in the run game. Lorenzo Carter, he's getting there, but he's coming off a torn Achilles. Nico Lalos, you can't really say much about. Last year he came onto the scene, made a few plays, but pretty much, was a few play wonder, for lack of better words. But in terms of Trent Harris, he's been one of the most impressive guys so far in camp, and the preseason games as well, as I just mentioned, putting pressure on the quarterback and setting the edge. He's not going to go in the backfield, and he hasn't gone in the backfield for like a 7-yard loss, tackling the running back. But there was one play that I remember from the Browns game last week, and that was Dearness Johnson. He was going to the right side, but he was cutting back to the left. That could have been a first down, but it was an 8-yard gain for, I think, Dearness Johnson or John Kelly, and Trent Harris tackles him. Whether it was a shoestring tackle, a this tackle, a that tackle, whatever. Some of these other linebackers, depth linebackers that we have, Coughlin, he's done a good job as the second, third team inside linebacker. He's slowly learning the position. If you put Trent Harris there, I think that definitely ups the potential that this position has. Now, people are going to say, oh, it's Trent Harris. He's an undrafted free agent from a couple of years ago. He's not much. Well, he's played better, in my personal opinion, at the most important times than Shane Zimenez has. My personal opinion. Now, Trent Harris played in week 1. I don't think Jimenez did. Or if he did, he wasn't noticeable. Let's just be real honest there. Now, once again, Oshane Jimenez was getting to the quarterback, but the task that the Giants have to tackle with this defense this season is replicating the amount of talent and production of Dalvin Tomlinson on the inside and just also setting the edge on the outside. Once again, they did not do that against the Cleveland Browns. And listen, we can all say that the Cleveland Browns have great depth on the offensive line and with the tight ends and the offense and stuff like that. We can all say that. But nobody set the edge like Trent Harris did. And when we're saying that Trent Harris was setting the edge, we're not saying, once again, 7-yard losses, 8-yard losses, whatever. He's not Khalil Mack or some of these other linebackers. But in terms of, what he was doing and what the other Giants linebackers were doing, there was no setting the edge for the other Giants linebackers. So that's a distance. That's pretty much a gap between what Harris was doing and what the other Giants linebackers were doing. Once again, it's not a lot, but that's basic role playing. That's basic strategy for the Giants defense. But to go into further statistics and stuff like that, Trent Harris played in 2019 with the Miami Dolphins. I think he was on a practice squad in 2018. That's when he made his debut in the NFL. Not necessarily. I mean, he didn't get games till 2019. But he did play with the Patriots in the preseason. I remember him sacking Alex Tanney in the 4th game, or it was either Kyle Oleta. I think it was Alex Tanney. But in 2019, with Brian Flores, with Patrick Graham, played a total of 11 games, started 3, 1 forced fumble, 1.5 sacks, 22 tackles, 2 quarterback hits, and a tackle for a loss. And then you take a look at the Giants the following year, started 2 games, played in 4, half a sack. He shared that with Jabril Peppers. Total of 5 tackles, 1 quarterback hit, no tackles for a loss, and 1 quarterback pressure. You take a look at the snaps. He only played 6% in 2020, which obviously, it doesn't mean much. In the small sample size, I thought he did okay, nothing special. 2019, he played 23% of the snaps for the Miami Dolphins. So he's been, basically a journeyman linebacker, journeyman undrafted free agent that nobody's really taken time to develop. This is his 2nd year going to be with the New York Giants, and this is the longest he's spent with one team. So obviously that's a big thing for Trent Harris, and he's definitely playing for a roster spot. And with that being said, he's definitely winning an uphill battle, in my opinion. We still have yet to see some of the practices and Game 3 against the Patriots, but so far he's been impressive. And Ifeadi Odenigbo, and let's actually go into it right now. I think he's beating most, if not all, of the linebackers. Ifeadi Odenigbo, other than the practice earlier on Thursday, hasn't done much in camp. Maybe 1 quarterback hit, 1 tackle for a loss, and 2 tackles in the preseason as a whole. Nico Lalos, 8 tackles. He's been there at times on the eye test, but just really hasn't been too impressive. My expectations for Lalos are very low. Being that, he was a few play wonder last year and really didn't do a whole lot. Oshane Jimenez, 3 quarterback hits, a sack, and 2 tackles. Once again, not setting the edge is kind of the big issue there. That's pretty much the issue I have with Jimenez, and a lot of people have seen it once again. He's not an every down player. He plays on passing downs, not running downs. And when you put Jimenez on the field on running downs, he doesn't set the edge. And this has kind of been the thing with him over the last 2 to 3 years. The other guy, Elerson Smith, he has not played. He's, been on the side with the trainers. He's likely to end up on PUP or on IR to start the season. So that's where I think, Trent Harris has a pretty good chance, and I think he will make the roster. As my prediction, I think he will make the roster. I think it's going to be him, Azeez Ojulari, Oshane Jimenez, Lorenzo Carter, and maybe one more pass rusher, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it. Trent Harris, so far in camp, he's done a good job for the Giants. I think he's, once again, the stat sheet doesn't tell you everything, but the eye test definitely, says a lot about him and the way he's fighting for a roster spot and wants to keep a roster spot for the New York Giants, because he was cut last year and then re-signed to the practice squad. So he does not want to be floating from team to team. But if you guys haven't already, like, comment, subscribe to that notification button so you get notified when the live stream pops video drops. More roster bubble videos coming out, podcast episode, and 53-man projection before Sunday against the Patriots. See you guys later. Peace out and stay cool.